Hello, my friend. Imagine this, a tiny, fragile baby, born so weak that nobody believed he would survive. A boy left without a father, abandoned by his mother, raised in silence and loneliness. And yet, this very boy grew into one of the greatest thinkers humanity has ever known. His name was Isaac Newton. Newton's story is not just about science, apples, or equations. It is a story about resilience, about how loneliness can become the birthplace of creativity, and how a curious mind can transform suffering into discovery. He was not born a genius. He was born ordinary, fragile, even broken. But instead of letting his pain destroy him, Newton turned his pain into power. As you listen to this story, you will discover something profound. Greatness is not about luck, or birth, or privilege. It is about curiosity, persistence, and the courage to keep going even when everything is against you. Newton's story will remind you that even in your darkest times, when you feel isolated and invisible, something inside you can still shine. Stay with me till the end, because by the time you finish this journey, you will never look at your own struggles, or even a simple falling apple, the same way again. Isaac Newton was born on December 25, 1642 in Woolsthorpe, a small village in England. His arrival was almost a tragedy. He was born prematurely, so small and frail that people thought he wouldn't live a single day. His mother, Hannah Asko, had lost her husband 3 months before Isaac was born. So from the very beginning, Newton entered the world as an orphan of circumstance. When Isaac was only 3 years old, his mother remarried. She left him in the care of his grandmother and went to live with her new husband. Imagine the wound of a child watching his mother leave, not because of death or fate, but by choice. Newton felt abandoned, unloved, and forgotten. That loneliness never left him. Throughout his life, he struggled with trust, isolation, and deep emotional scars. At school, Isaac was not remarkable. In fact, he was near the bottom of his class. He was bullied, mocked, and considered unworthy. But one day, after being humiliated by another student, Isaac made a silent promise. He would not fight back with fists, he would fight back with knowledge. He buried himself in study, and slowly, he rose. From being the weakest, he became the brightest student in the class. This was the first transformation in Newton's life, turning pain into purpose. Newton's curiosity was endless. While other children played, Isaac would spend hours making models of windmills, sundials, water clocks, and even small mechanical toys. He observed the world like no one else. Every shadow, every color, every pattern fascinated him. But life was never simple. At 17, Newton's mother pulled him out of school, wanting him to run the family farm. Isaac hated farming. He could barely handle animals or manage crops. His mind was elsewhere, lost in thoughts of the stars, numbers, and light. Thankfully, his uncle recognized his talent and persuaded his mother to send him to Cambridge University. That decision changed history. At Cambridge, Newton entered a new world. He studied the works of Galileo, Kepler, and Descartes. But Newton was different. Where others saw answers, Newton saw new questions. He was not satisfied with reading about the world, he wanted to uncover truths no one had imagined. In 1665, disaster struck. The Great Plague of London spread across England. Cambridge University shut down, and students were sent home. Newton returned to Woolsthorpe. For most students, this was a pause in their education. But for Newton, isolation became a gift. At only 22 years old, during 2 years of solitude, he made discoveries that changed the world. He developed calculus, a new language of mathematics that could describe change and motion. He experimented with prisms and discovered that white light is made of all colors. And then came the thought that defined his legacy, the law of universal gravitation. The story goes that Newton saw an apple fall from a tree. Perhaps it never struck his head, but the apple sparked a question: why does the apple fall straight down? Why not sideways? Why not upward? Could the same force pulling the apple also keep the moon in orbit around the Earth? Newton dared to connect the ordinary with the infinite. From a falling apple, he imagined the forces that govern the entire universe. Newton formulated his 3 laws of motion. An object remains at rest, or in uniform motion, unless acted upon by a force. Force equals mass times acceleration. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. With these simple yet profound statements, Newton described how everything moves, from a ball rolling on the ground to planets orbiting the sun. He also introduced the law of universal gravitation. Every particle in the universe attracts every other particle with a force proportional to their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. This was revolutionary. Before Newton, the heavens and the earth were thought to follow different rules. The moon and stars were divine, while earth was ordinary. Newton showed they were the same, bound by the same invisible force, gravity. For the first time in history, humanity had a mathematical description of the universe. But Newton's path was not smooth. He was a deeply private man, sensitive to criticism, and often harsh in arguments. His rivalry with Robert Hooke was bitter. Hooke accused Newton of stealing ideas about light and optics. Their conflict was so intense that Newton withdrew from publishing for years. Later, when Newton's masterpiece was printed, he refused to mention Hooke's contributions at all. Then came the controversy with Gottfried Leibniz, a German mathematician. Both men developed calculus independently. But who discovered it first? The debate divided Europe. Newton, proud and stubborn, used his influence in the Royal Society to claim priority, damaging Leibniz's reputation. These conflicts show Newton not just as a genius, but as a man, brilliant yet flawed, visionary yet human. In 1687, Newton published Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, known simply as the Principia. This book changed science forever. In it, Newton laid down his laws of motion and gravity, supported by rigorous mathematics. The Principia became the foundation of physics, astronomy, and engineering. It transformed the way people saw the world. For centuries, the universe was a mystery, unpredictable and divine. Newton revealed its order, its logic, its laws. The impact was immense. Scientists, philosophers, even ordinary people began to see the universe as a grand machine, precise, elegant, understandable. In later years, Newton entered public life. He became master of the royal mint, reforming England's currency and punishing counterfeiters. He was knighted by Queen Anne, becoming Sir Isaac Newton. Yet even in power, Newton remained a man of contradictions. He was deeply religious, spending years studying the Bible and even alchemy, subjects modern science rejects. He sought hidden codes in Scripture, searching for God's plan in the universe. Despite his flaws, his achievements stood unmatched. Newton lived to the age of 84, dying in 1727. He was buried in Westminster Abbey, alongside kings and heroes. From a fragile, abandoned boy to the man who explained the universe, Newton's journey remains one of the greatest stories in human history. Isaac Newton's life teaches us something powerful: greatness is not born in comfort. It is born in struggle. The boy who was too weak to live a single day went on to give humanity a new vision of the cosmos. What do we learn from him? That loneliness can shape creativity. That failure can spark determination. That a simple falling apple can unlock the secrets of the stars, if only you dare to question. Newton's story is not just about science. It is about you, me, and every human being who feels weak, unseen, or broken. If Newton could rise from abandonment and isolation to immortality, then so can you. Remember, the same universe that revealed its secrets to Newton is the universe you live in today. Your struggles, your silence, your questions, they too can lead to greatness. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys like this. Every video here is made to remind you that you are capable of far more than you think. Thank you for staying with me on this journey. Stay curious, stay strong, and until next time, goodbye.